Hey guys, Pyro here. Today I want to talk about a follow-up video to the 10 tips to be a better Rainbow Six player. And this one is gonna be on how to be a better defender on Rainbow Six. In all the game modes, in hostage, bomb, and secure the area. Now I wanted to make this because I see a lot of defenders get killed off too fast. Doing too much stupid things, falling back tactics. Hoping you guys would learn a little bit better how to be better defenders. Sorry. So I got 10 tips on how to be a better defender. So let's get into them. The first one is simple, but yet I don't see that many people doing it. The first one would be to use the best gun with the operator you're wanting to use or using at the time. For example, use the best gun that operator has available for let's say example Jaeger. You want to use that basically the assault rifle he has. I know it's not an assault rifle and I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it's the SMG that he has that has great range, great damage all around. It's an all around great weapon. I'd use that over the shotgun any day of the week and stuff like that. I mean, if it's like a small mat, close quarters, the shotgun is fine, especially like if they have a really good shotgun like an M1014 or if you have Frost with the Super 90 or the Spas 12. Those are fine, but in general, using guns with overall good range and be able to fight an enemy at all ranges, close, short, close, medium, and long. I think that's the best advice I could give you on that. The next one is complement your team's operators. And I see that a lot of people don't do this, and this is one of the main reasons why attackers get through defenses so fast. For example, a cap cannon and a pulse don't complement each other. You can make argument for it, but they don't complement each other. Those are two basically roaming classes or that wait for people to go through a trap. They don't complement each other. For example, if you're playing hostage and you see someone went castle, go mute, jam the castle walls, make it harder for the team to get through, especially if they don't have a Thatcher. Make the Thatcher waste his EMPs on that. Make the attackers reconsider their attacking strategy and make it harder for them to get there by being coordinated with your teammates. Pick operators that complement each other. Don't have just operators that don't help in the certain situation. And I'll get onto that a little bit later with strategies you can play. Third would be on this game mode, bomb, is to hope you understand this. Since you're usually spread out more often in bomb because there's two bombs you have to cover, obviously. One suggestion I could give you and tip that would help you is, above all, don't reinforce in between bombs. But in general, most people know this by now. You should try to imagine if you're looking from the top down to the map. You want to reinforce around all the bombs. You want to reinforce around all the bombs and kind of make this square around you. That way, when attackers start breaking through your defenses, you have a very good idea where they're coming from, and if you have the area in between the bombs open, if you can, because not all maps let you do this. If you can, then you can easily move around and focus more defenses on one part, or move back to another area. Retreat across one bomb but still cover the other one. But at the same time, you still have and within that square that you would have built, you still have corners where you can go hide and defend from there, where your back is covered and you're not getting flanked. So that's what I mean. This was a little bit harder to understand because without you kind of practicing in game. So just imagine like that. Just reinforce the area around the bombs, not in between the bombs, and use those areas to whenever they start breaching, or if they breach. Well, they usually breach one specific bomb. They don't go for two. They usually go for the weaker bomb. You can defend. You will know that which section of the square that I'm talking about they're coming from, and you have an advantage over them. On hostage mode, this is the fourth tip. On hostage mode, reinforce to slow the enemy down. Now that sounds a little bit stupid, but sometimes hostage mode can get you like bad rooms. For example, house where the window's right next to the hostage. But you wanna build your defenses to slow attackers down. So barbed wire, traps. If it's a small room, reinforce the crap out of it. Make it as hard for them to get to the hostage as possible. In general, I don't think like you don't have to build to kill them. You have to build to slow them down, because this it helps during the game, obviously, when you're fighting on the 5v5. But let's say your team goes down to 2v5, and if you make it harder for them to get there, let's say you have barbed wire through every single hallway around the around the hostage, the other two guys have a really good chance of killing the attackers while they're trying to go through your defenses, trying to kill you off your defenses. Kill them while they're trying to do that, or kill them as they're trying to run away, all slowed down to their defenses or can't go through. And in some cases, you might have so good defenses that they can't even get through. If you jam a castle door and you have barbed wire everywhere and you have electric shocks, and they don't have a Thatcher, or they don't have a Thatcher, I mean, what are they going to do? They're not even going to get in the hospital. They're going to sit there just banging at the door. So that's what I mean by that. Reinforce to slow down. Because in most cases, attackers have everything available to get through, unless they make a mistake and don't pick the right operator, which goes back to picking operators with chemistry with each other. So that reinforces my point. The fifth thing I want to talk about is never leave the objective, and or don't leave it for that long, or don't go across the map from the objective, because you never know when it's going to become a 1v5 and you have to defend the objective and you're across the map and there's nothing you can do. Some operators in this game walk slow as hell, especially defenders. And try to be around it at all times. If you roam, try to be somewhat near to it. Try to be around 5 to 10 seconds near it so you can get it shot. If something happens, if your team is trying to get killed off, if your team is trying to get breached hard on, you have a chance to go and try to help your team while they defend. So try not to leave the objective. That, my opinion, don't leave the objective, but that's my play style. But try not to leave it, or try not to go as far off the map. Usually, how far you can go in 5 to 10 seconds. 10 seconds, a little bit more. It's a little bit too much. So try not to go as far that time wise. The sixth one I want to talk about is the 3/5 rule, or 3 out of 5 rule. 3 people should always stay at the objective, and at most 2 people should only roam. You should never have 3 roamers. You should never have 4 roamers. No one on your team should ever roam. The whole team should never roam. There should at least be 3 people defending objective and 2 people roaming. That's the acceptable ratio before you start creating this balance. And if all the attackers push the objective, you're gonna be in a bad situation and badly outgunned if it's a 5v3. And I know a lot of people like to roam, but in general, my opinion is always 4 people on the objective and one roaming. That's usually a good strategy, because the roamer can usually be used to flank, but you just have some games, where 3 people start roaming and get killed off, and it's a 2v5 or 2v4, and you're seriously outgunned. That's just a bad thinking, bad strategy, So that's the rule. That's the rule that's the technique that I've seen when I play on teams in public matches, where it works. It's not bad. Obviously, that still can fail, because you can immediately go down to a 3v5, or you could go up 5v2. This is a numbers game. All right, the 7th one I want to talk about is, when you die as a defender, you have to let your team know that you died. Obviously, they're gonna know, but tell them where you got shot from, who you got shot from, and what angle do they have on your team, and what operator they are, if it's not unknown at this point. And this is one of the biggest mistakes I've seen. Like, I'll be playing, let's say it's 5v5 match started, and let's say my team goes down 3v4, it's not that bad off. And my teammate gets killed. He was in another room, defending something. And I don't know, was he killed outside the room in the hallway that I'm looking at? Did he get killed from up top? Is it a sniper? Is it glass? And I'll be asking him, hey, what killed you? Nothing, And then I get killed off because I don't know where. I don't have a good idea where they're coming from, even as good as attention I could put into like getting to know where they're coming from. I'll get killed off, and it's 2v4, and then my teammates are in a really bad position to succeed. So always try to do that. Let your teammates know where you got killed from, who you got killed from, and what operator it was if it's unknown. That will help your team out, and that will help you win more games in the long run. Hopefully, if your teammates don't suck. Now, the eighth tip I want to talk about is to reinforce trap doors and flanking routes. These are kind of obvious. The flanking route is definitely obvious. You want to reinforce that, even though I still see a lot of people not doing it. But I want to talk about the trap doors and why these are important. This again goes back to the 10 tips to be a better Rainbow Six Siege player, because it's about map situational awareness and knowing the map. A lot of people, they can play a lot of the map and they still won't know the map, or a lot of people have bad memory. But this goes to like people not knowing where the trap doors are and how they can like just kill off your defenses. The reason why I want to point this out is because trap doors can make your fight vertical. So what I mean by that is they can blow the trap door. That they're usually placed on top of objective rooms where you have to defend the most, and they can shoot down, and they could probably pick off 1 to 2. They can start killing defenses off of that, so that way their teammates can push in from the standard ground level or whatever floor they're pushing in on a certain map. But if you reinforce the trap door and Thermite doesn't use one of his things, or one of his Thermite charges, and or they don't have a Thermite, or the Thermite gets killed off early in the round before he can use his specialized breaching charge on that, you have an advantage because you're forcing the fight to stay linear. You know which doors they're gonna come from. You know which door to watch from. You don't have to be watching a trap door and a normal door. Like, you don't have to be watching your head. And because you reinforce that. And if you can reinforce multiple ones and keep them out, you're funneling your enemy, the attackers, into one area, and that makes it easier to kill them off, because you always have the advantage in that situation. And then again, if they break through, if they use the Thermite charge, you tried, but you try to reinforce and they breach through, right? You made them waste a Thermite charge on that, and if your team coordinates enough, you can usually repel them and deter them from jumping down. Usually jumping down is your death, But then again, you made Thermite waste resource, which for them would be a Thermite charge, which are very valuable in this game. So always reinforce trap doors, and any trap door up top of you, above you, that might give them an advantage to what's the word I'm trying to say, to, I guess, disassemble your defenses to destroy your game plan. And obviously reinforce flanking routes to the best of your ability, to the best resources that you might have left to reinforce. Even though they're commonly known, and there's usually a teammate that watches them nowadays, but always remember that. 9, remember Peeker's advantage, and I know I talked about this in the 10 tips for to be a better Rainbow Six player. Peeker's advantage is just so important in this game, and it's so prevalent, and they take so many battles, and and it's the reason why so many people call BS and call hacking on other people in this game. And I will always keep telling people to remember this, because it's such a disadvantage for defenders, because the defender is usually the guy who's just kind of sitting and waiting for an attacker to come around the corner or peek, or you're just guarding a certain area which you don't move. And that's where you get the disadvantage, because the attacker is the one who is peeking. You're not getting, the game is not giving you the information on time, where he sees you for about a second, you only see him for about a millisecond. So always remember that, especially when you kind of got like an area lockdown and you're kind of just staring down your barrel. Always remember that you, as a defender, you're more than likely on the wrong side of peeker's advantage. Always remember that, and try to take that into account when you know that there is an attacker there. You're fighting an attacker who has and you're in a spot where you have an idea that you might get he might peek out really quick and get you. Always have that in mind. The 10th tip I want to include is this makes me so mad when I see people do this and they don't consider the things that might happen when they do this. Don't revive teammates without checking angles, and remember that teammates can be used as bait. Now, I know if you're talking on comms, or if the guy has comms, which a lot of people nowadays do have a microphone. That's what I meant when I said comms. They have a microphone and they tell you, I traded or I killed him, or it's clear. Fine, go pick him up. Still be cautious. Still pick him up, because you never know when someone's going to round the corner. But in most of the cases, people will go down and they won't tell you what the situation was. They won't tell you, did they trade? They won't tell you, did I kill him off? They won't tell you he backed off, or he's like 10 meters away. They won't tell you these type of things. And to be really careful if you really want to go revive someone. If it's like an important guy, or he's your friend, or it's the guy who was really holding down a spot. Go try to revive him, but remember, they can use as bait. I often do this a lot. I'll use people as bait. Defenders, I'll use them as bait. Attackers too, but I'll use defenders that I catch off guard as bait. And sure enough, you'll see someone running down the hallway, someone with a pool stick stuck up their ass, trying to revive, and there you go. There's two easy kills right there, and then the match turns in our favor with a 5v3. You can and that'll put defenders at a bad situation to succeed. So always try to remember that that teammates that are down can be used as bait to kill more than one person. Now, I have one more tip, and I should include it, but throw people off because it's gonna be 11 tips instead of 10. But this is like an extra tip. An extra tip that it's really obvious. Always check cams. And by this I don't mean a lot of people just check them in the beginning of the game to get a sense of direction of where they're coming from. Beginning, they shot this camera from this particular area of the outside, so they spawn on this side and they're coming from this way. And then after that, they won't check them, or at least good players or kind of beginning players won't do this. You have access to the cameras through the whole game as a defender. Use them as much as you can. There's a quiet period in the match where they're kind of sneaking through. Cycle through the cams. Try to go through them. Even if you see a peak where you can tell that gives you an advantage immediately. You have a sense of direction of where they're coming from. Let your team know about it too. Continuously keep checking cameras through the round. If you kill someone off, and if you're in a good secure spot within your defending objective, the defending objective area, check again. Always use the cams to advantage. Try to use as much advantages that you could get in this game. All the advantages that this game gives to defenders, use them as much, because in general, for the most part, I think defenders always are disadvantaged in this game. So try to use the cams, because they're such an important resources, especially Valkyrie cams now that they're included in the game. Especially those, because those aren't getting shot off as immediately and as methodically as the regular cams. Try to use them, but use them throughout the round. Obviously, don't get caught with your dick hanging out as you're watching the cameras. Try to be alert to it, but always try to use them to get the best angle to kill someone and to not get flanked, importantly, and to always get a good idea where they're coming from throughout the whole match. But you have to learn how to use them. Don't use them when you're getting in a firefight. That's suicide. Use them when you know you're in a good spot, and use them to try to kill people off that are kind of roaming or alone, attacking wise. So those are 10 in the bonus tip that I wanted to talk about for defenders on Rainbow Six Siege. Some are a little bit vague, but hard to describe when can't necessarily like a detailed image of what I'm talking about, but you'll get the gist of it. And in general, people who would play this game will understand it. And I hope it helps you become a better defender, or it teaches you something. Because we need better defending teams, and in general, I think defending in this game is harder. Because I always think attackers had an advantage because they don't really have to worry about that many angles of exposure. But then I think the only advantage defenders have sometimes is the cameras, but they're just gonna get killed off. And then I think attackers always have the advantage of peeker's advantage. So yeah, that's why I wanted to make this video, kind of teach people about it, make people better players and better defenders at Rainbow Six Siege. I hope you guys learned something from this. Hopefully you don't think I'm an idiot or wrong about all these things, but I just try to write it down and kind of think about what my thought process